What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And yesterday I had a video talking about something a lot of people had heard about, which is on a Disney cruise line, a little girl fell off of the ship. She went overboard and her father jumped in after her. And around that was a lot of speculation as to what caused this. And a lot of people were putting blame on the father and the parents without really having any of the information at all, as the internet tends to do. But we are now starting to get some of that information, and I found an article here from Disney Tourist Blog that sums it up really well. We'll read through this and see what actually happened here as the sheriff rebuts rumors of Disney cruise rescue of father jumping overboard to save his daughter. This says, this week's feel-good news has been about a father who jumped into the ocean to save his daughter's life after she fell overboard. With both being rescued thanks to heroic Disney Cruise Line crew members, the internet being what it is, rancid rumors had begun swirling about the Disney Cruise Line incident. Thankfully, the Broward County Sheriff's Office has released a new statement to set the record straight. It says, in case you missed it, a child and her father were rescued from the water by Disney Cruise Line crew members after an incident on June 29th of this year, where the daughter fell overboard from the Disney Dream. The pair were rescued, and then after that, her father jumped in after her basically immediately, is why they were both in there. The pair were rescued by crew from the Disney Dream after the father treaded water with his 5-year-old daughter for about 20 minutes. I'll just say right there, I don't know if they had life rafts. I had heard reports that they had thrown life rafts out to them after they had fallen out there, but to tread water for 20 minutes, seemingly also holding up your child, that is... That is impressive. I'll just say that right there. That is not an easy feat. In the middle of the ocean, to do that is quite a feat, I will say. I don't even know if I could do that. I'm not the greatest swimmer in the world, but for 20 minutes, eventually adrenaline wears off in that amount of time. And it's amazing that they were able to do that and everybody was okay. According to the Broward County Sheriff's Office, the incident occurred at about 11:30 a.m. Sunday when the girl lost her balance while sitting on a railing and falling backward through a porthole. The family was on deck 4 of the ship, which features the jogging track shuffleboard along with railings and open portholes. For reference, deck 4 is about 20 feet above the water. And Colin Rugg on Twitter X it looks like we actually have a view of the type of porthole she fell from. And there's a video here kind of talking about this a little bit.
But I don't think that people realize there are these portholes on either side of the back of the ship. And if you look, there are ledges that a child could possibly climb up on and go over. These are open air. That's my 5-year-old right next to it. You can see that if he wanted to, he could go over. This was our 18th Disney cruise, and we'll continue to cruise with them.
So you can see there in the images, I mean, it's very possible for a 5-year-old to climb up on that. The Disney Dream was returning from Lighthouse Point in the Bahamas to Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale at the end of a 4-night cruise and was in international waters when the rescue occurred. Of course, they had the man overboard code rang out over the ship's intercom, signaling an urgent response from crew members. Disney Cruise Line also had their statement of what we talked about last time about they commend the crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes. Likely due to the emergency code ringing over the ship's intercom and the incident happening in broad daylight, many guests aboard the Disney Dream witnessed the incident, or more likely saw the 20 minutes of treading water and the subsequent rescue. Unfortunately, social media being what it is, there's also been a lot of misinformation and speculation spread among those who were not present. Shocking. People on the internet never do that. That never happens. It's crazy. As a result of nasty rumors, it says, does it even count as a rumor if the source is, I made it up?
You don't say.
Very valid. About how and why the daughter fell overboard, the Broward County Sheriff's Office released a statement clarifying details from its investigation. As an aside, when something awful happens to a child, why is it the first instinct of some people to assume the worst and that bad parenting is the cause? I'm sure the people spreading this awful gossip are perfect and never have taken their eyes off their kids even for a second or had unfortunate accidents occur. They're probably the same ones who would cry helicopter parent in a different scenario. Well, and that's just the thing. When I made the video, I said in there were rumors out there about what happened. I wasn't going to speculate on that because you go in there to save your daughter and then you hear on the internet people basically saying it's your fault. And if you've ever had kids, and any parent can tell you there's been situations where a kid runs off, a kid climbs on something, like kids get into things. You can take their eyes off them for 2 seconds and they're into something, especially at certain ages, or you accidentally, you can't find your child for a moment, like your heart sinks and you feel lucky if nothing bad happened and you found everything's okay. But I can't even imagine a situation where that happens and something really bad happens. And then you have the entire internet going at you whenever this is something that basically every parent is going to have happen at some point, where a kid runs off and does something. It's not often that it happens to be on a cruise ship and somebody falls through into the water. That's obviously a different scenario here. But for the people that were automatically, and it was in my comments on that video, people just blaming the dad outright as if they were there. Now, if that came to be true and that's what happened and the dad put her up on the railing and that caused it, yeah, that's a problem. But at the same time, he jumped in after her and then got her. But it's just the whole jumping to conclusions as if people knew exactly what was going on. And that is part of social media and I suppose YouTube comment sections. But I was not going to put that blame on him without having any of that information, just because I would want the same courtesy myself if something happened. So that was a very unfortunate thing going on around this story. Those of us who have been fortunate enough to never have bad outcomes occur should not make the mistake in assuming the opportunities for them did not exist. A lot comes down to luck, both good and bad. A little humility and empathy go a long way and cost nothing, but I digress. Completely agree. I said, here's the statement from the Broward County Sheriff's Office. Broward Sheriff's Office detectives continued to investigate the moments before a 5-year-old girl lost her balance while sitting on a railing and falling backward through a porthole. After the girl's mother alerted her husband, who didn't see the incident, he jumped into the ocean to save his daughter. BSO detectives said that after the 37-year-old father found his daughter, he treaded water until they were rescued by a tender that was launched from the ship. The crew's man overboard training and readiness paid off because they executed a successful ocean rescue, and BSO investigators said the total time from the child's accidental fall to the rescue was about 20 minutes. Once rescued, the father and daughter were checked out by ship's medical staff, and after the ship arrived Monday morning into Port Everglades, Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue transported them to an area hospital. The father was hospitalized. The family lives out of state. For the family's continued privacy, detectives are not releasing their names, where they live, or details of the father's injury. BSO detectives have reviewed the ship's security video, which corroborates the statements from the family and cruise ship staff. The investigation into this matter continues, and the family is so blessed. It's great to be able to respond to good news rather than what could have been a tragic outcome. From what I have read, maritime experts view this as a small miracle and best possible confluence of circumstances. That the father was a hero, as without him jumping in and treading water, there's no way that 5-year-old would have survived even ideal conditions while waiting for the crew to launch a tender. That even with the optimal training and the utmost efficiency, the response time from the Disney Cruise Line crew was incredibly impressive, and they should likewise be lauded as heroes for saving 2 lives. Most of the time in man overboard cases, it's already too late by the time the rescue arrives. In normal circumstances, there often aren't any witnesses. They often happen at nighttime and involve alcohol, and because the ships are moving at approximately 20 knots and it's dark out, by the time anyone figures out that someone has gone overboard, it's usually too late and the incidents are fatal. According to data from the Cruise Line International Association, an average of approximately 25 reported overboard incidents worldwide happen each year. The Cruise Vessel Security and Safety Act of 2010 requires cruise lines to integrate technology that can be used for capturing images of passengers or detecting passengers who have fallen overboard to the extent that such technology is available. This also likely helped save the lives of the daughter and the father, as the Disney Cruise Line was alerted instantly once the daughter fell. Ultimately, this whole saga strikes me as a triumph, one showcasing the best of humanity, from the brave crew members to the doctor who comforted the girl during the rescue to the fearless father who immediately jumped in to rescue his daughter. One that underscores how human advancements ensured a happy ending. The outcome might have been very different 2 decades ago, before the automated alert technology existed. Negativity is a powerful drug, but there are great things happening all around the world every single day, and regular heroes walking amongst us. Thankfully, most people recognize this and savor the positive news that showcases the best of humanity. But all it takes is a few vocal voices for the negative to drown out the positive. Sometimes it's nice to uplift and amplify optimism and not try desperately to find a cloud in every single silver lining. I think that's very well put. And I mean, first off, you're talking about the internet. I mean, people are just, especially like Twitter X and YouTube comment sections for the most part, people just tend to be very negative and cynical about things. But as I said in the other video, the dad's a hero in this situation. I don't care what anybody else says. If you're not a parent, it is really difficult to describe the fear that parents have almost every single day about things happening to their children and trying to mitigate that, obviously, if you're an active parent. And the idea that one of my children would go overboard and basically, yeah, you're going to jump in after him because that's just what you're going to do. And the fact that this had a happy ending, now we don't know the father's, the extent of his injuries, but they're both alive and well. I think that is something to be celebrated. And I would say maybe people will learn from this to not jump to conclusions when they don't have all the facts on the matter, but more than likely that's not going to be the case. Somebody called me on the comments, kudos to the dad for jumping in after his daughter and saving her life. If he did not do that, this young girl would have died. Whether or not they were watching their kids close enough, whatever you think about their parenting, if the dad didn't jump in after his daughter, she would not have made it. It's as simple as that. So for that reason alone, he is to be celebrated for this. I'm sure even in the comments of this, some people are going to have some stuff to say about the parenting of this. There is no evidence of anything happening at this point outside of what they've said here. We haven't seen the footage of this. We probably never will. And unless there's charges being filed at the parents about this, more than likely this is just an accident that happened that luckily had a happy ending. I think most dads and parents would do the same thing. You're still talking a 20-foot jump into the ocean, unknowing, more than likely that dad jumps in thinking, I don't know if she's going to be alive. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but you're jumping in either way. I'm really glad this was a happy ending. And I hope that people learn from this not to jump to conclusions and start dragging a dad on social media that just went through a terrible ordeal, having to jump in and save his daughter. And instead of being like, hey, good on you, dad, you got a bunch of people that weren't there that don't know what happened going at this dad as if they know what happened. That's the thing that drives me nuts, is people don't even have a 10% of the information and they're already jumping to conclusions. So maybe next time, just wait till the facts come out. And yeah, if it comes out that this dad put her up on the rail and they were negligent and doing stupid stuff, then sure, criticize the parents at that point. But until maybe just hold off. Maybe just talk about some other stuff. And maybe don't point so many fingers at other people acting like you've never made mistakes. I'm happy to hear that, the girl is safe. Hopefully the dad is okay. We don't know the extent of his injuries, but obviously he was injured on some level. Again, jumping that high up off a cruise ship, it's kind of amazing that the little girl wasn't hurt. I mean, that can get you right there just hitting the water. So who knows where the injury was sustained from or what it is, but hopefully they all have a full recovery and, hopefully it comes to find out that it was just a bad accident here. Nobody has any, negligence as part of this, and everybody can move along and maybe learn something at the end of the day about not jumping to conclusions without any of the information out there. But I digress. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do all its coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.